Welcome back to What You'll Learn. My name is Adam Ashton.
And my name is Adam Jones. Today we are doing an absolute juggernaut of a book, Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. So right now we're going to do Chapter 7, Soften People's Resistance by Confirming Their Self-Opinion, the Law of Defensiveness.
Life is harsh and people competitive. We naturally must look after our own interests. We also want to feel that we are independent, doing our own bidding. That is why when others try to persuade or change us, we become defensive and resistant. To give in challenges our need to feel autonomous. That is why, to get people to move from their defensive positions, you must always make it seem like what they are doing is of their own free will. Creating a feeling of mutual warmth helps soften people's resistance and makes them want to help. Never attack people for their beliefs or make them feel insecure about their intelligence or goodness. That will only strengthen their defensiveness and make your task impossible. Make them feel that by doing what you want, they are being noble and altruistic, the ultimate lure. Learn to tame your own stubborn nature and free your mind from its defensive and closed positions, unleashing your creative powers. What a beast.
Whip-a-woo. So from early on in life, we humans develop a defensive and self-protective side to our personality. So it really begins in early childhood as we cultivate a sense of personal physical space that others should not come in and really violate. And then this later expands as we get a little bit older to the feeling of personal dignity. So people should not coerce or manipulate us into doing things that we don't want to do, right? So we really feel like we should be free to choose what we desire.
Yeah, that's it, man. And it sort of gets even worse as the older we get, because we're always feeling like we're being judged. We always feel like people are praising us. They're saying, are we competent? Are we good enough? Are we a good person? Are we a team player? We never feel like we're free from this scrutiny. So what that means is that our automatic position is always defensiveness. Whenever any new idea or new opinion comes in, the first thing we do is defend and resist, and it only gets stronger. And if the thing comes in is obviously negative, our defenses go way up, and it's almost impossible to bring them down again.
We continually find ourselves in all kinds of situations where we need to move people from these resistance positions. So if the default mode is this feeling of defensiveness, then there needs to be to find a way. And this is where this chapter really helps us here. It's lowering the resistance of other people so you can persuade.
Yes, it's a great view on persuasion. And he says that you need to understand that you need to create a feeling of validation. He says that that's the golden key that will unlock people's defenses. And he says the law is as follows. People have a perception about themselves that we shall call their self-opinion. So this self-opinion doesn't matter if it's accurate or not, because what matters is that that's how they perceive themselves and their own character and their worthiness. And it's up to us to confirm that. If we violate that, if we try to show them that, hey, your self-opinion's wrong, that's game over in terms of persuasion.
Mate, that's absolutely massive, I think.
Yeah.
So, everyone's got their own self-opinion. If you go against what they believe about themselves, defenses go up. But if you confirm what they believe about themselves to be accurate, then they let you in to be able to persuade them.
Yeah.
And the good news is so basically the goal of this, we want to confirm their self-opinion. And there are 3 parts of people's self-opinion that are pretty much universal. So any person you come up with, these 3 things you can actually confirm and lower their defenses.
Yeah. The first one is I'm autonomous and acting of my own free will. The second is I'm intelligent and in my own way. And the third is I'm basically good and decent. And what he says is that we all believe this about ourselves, but it's really only when somebody external validates it that we truly believe it. So we're always feeling this. If someone comes along and confirms this, we feel much more closely associated with them by thinking, oh yeah, I'm a good person. They recognize I'm a good person. I like this person.
Let's dig it a little bit deeper on all 3 of them, I think, because it's really important. So the first one he said there is, I'm acting of my own free will. So when we join a group, if we believe something, if we buy a product or something, we want to feel like it was completely our conscious free choice to do so. We weren't influenced, we weren't persuaded, we weren't biased or irrational in any other way, which through reading other chapters in this book, you'll realize that's an all crock of shit as well. but we want to feel like it was all our choice and we're in control of what we do.
Yeah, even if deep down we know that we were manipulated or we succumbed to peer pressure, we tell ourselves the story that it was all free will. And we have this need to constantly assert this free will. And we always feel that if somebody's trying to coerce or manipulate us, we're going to go against them. And if it gets to the point where, say, it's a boss tells you, no, you have to do this, there's going to be some deep resentment. And later on, you're going to find some way to secretly rebel against it.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Dark people. The second one was I'm intelligent. And it's not just intelligent in the one niche area of, science or politics or anything like that. It's the people want to feel like they're intelligent in their own particular way.
Yes.
So it might be a plumber who is a super plumber and knows a lot about plumbing. I was looking for technical terms of plumbing, but obviously I'm not strong in that area. But whatever field they're in, they want to feel like they're experts in their own way.
Yeah. Everybody believes that they are above average in most things. Now, it's mathematically impossible for everyone to be above average, but we always find some area in our own way that, yes, we are intelligent. So we might not all be Einstein level. Some of us are, but we might also...
Fucking, that's just your self-opinion, mate.
Mate, I've found one area of intelligence and I'm clinging to that. But there's all these different areas of intelligence.
Shit, mate. Easy attack. That'll come later.
So we all find this, we all believe we are intelligent. And if we're not book smart, we find another area that actually we're intelligent in our own way because we're really good at this one particular thing.
The third one was I'm a good person. So we like to feel like we see ourselves as supporting the right causes. We treat people well. We're a team player in the company and so forth. So in our own way as well, we are good people. Someone might be an arsehole to his friends, but sees themselves as a very good family person or something like that.
So or even if they are an arsehole to their friends, they think it was a bit of tough love. I needed to show this person why they were wrong. Like it was in their best interest for me to be a dog.
Yeah. So no matter what they do, they really consider themselves a good person.
Yeah.
Adolf Hitler, he considers himself a good person for whatever reasons is. Yeah. So the extremes of evil, no matter how evil they may seem, they themselves think they're good.
Yes. So they're the three key universal things. They're so it's almost like a cold reading that you could do on anybody. And you could say that, okay, if you can confirm this, everyone thinks that they're autonomous and acting of their own free will. Everybody thinks they're above average intelligence in some way. And everybody thinks that they're a good person. So they're the three key things that every single person believes about themselves.
And there's a few others here as well, right? So they're the ones that are specific for everyone, but everyone else has got their own unique ones as well. So some people might out there think, I'm a rebel and you're a conformist. Another one might think I'm good looking and you are less so.
Yeah.
Another might think I'm an individual and you're just like everyone else.
Yeah, that's the key. Like if people think, okay, I'm a free spirit, I'm one of a kind, I'm unique, or they think I'm very self-reliant, I don't need anybody's help, or they think I'm a rebel, I disdain authority, what they're really thinking is that they're better than other people in that regard. So on one hand, they're thinking this is about them, but really it's comparing themselves to other people and thinking that they're better. I'm a free spirit and you're just like everybody else.
I'll go on for you, mate. Specific for you.
Yeah.
So you were briefly alluding to the intelligence part. So I think you think that I'd bring that up as your main one, but it's not. Your one, I think you feel like well, this is true actually. You do have this friendly facade, but you feel like you're someone who's really Machiavellian in the background. I don't reckon you are, but I reckon your self-opinion is that you're very much. Oh, you are strategic to a point, but you see yourself as an extremely strategic person and Machiavellian and all that.
I like
and
that.
You're very manipulative of people, and you take great pleasure in that self-opinion of yourself.
Yes.
Do you agree with that,
mate? That's a good punch. That's a good one. Yeah. There was a left fielder. It's just in the notes AA, so I wasn't sure it was coming, but I like it. I think that's bang on, man.
Yeah.
Mate, I think that's some next level deep psychoanalysis.
It kind of hurts. Yeah. Does it hurt a little bit?
No, I don't think it does. I think it does.
Mate.
Actually, it does a little bit. Yeah.
It does. Trust me.
Mate, the other one for you, I think, is yours is that you're morally superior to a lot of people. Like you have these big causes that you're saving the planet, or that anyone who buys a fancy car is just a selfish, worthless dick. That's sort of so I think that's that will be your self opinion, is that I don't need these external material things. I'm just driving towards a greater cause.
It's painful to hear, and that's just like 2 parts in this book, and that's what the book's all about. In every chapter, you'll be reading about it, and it'll be like, oh shit, this person's pretty fucked up. This person's pretty fucked up, and then bang, he'll just describe exactly you, like straight to your unconscious, and really hit you for 6. And then the worst part is straight after that, I go, oh yeah, it was because when you were 3 years old, you had this love attachment with your mother. Some really weird unconscious shit from when you grew up. But that's how he hits you in the book.
But I think that's the important key of the book. The first thing is to understand yourself first, and then the second thing is to then start to understand others.
Yes, absolutely.
That's such a good book. Okay, so next, now that we've got these 3 things, in any interaction, people are always going to be looking, what's this person's motive behind what they're saying? So we're always trying to decode. So that's why we need to be super Machiavellian, mate, and be strategic and manipulative. but he says three things can happen. Either if you challenge any of their self-opinion, the first thing they're going to do is their defenses are going to go way up. If you make them feel like they're brainwashed or they're unintelligent or whatever, and those walls are never going to come down. So if you in any way go against their self-opinion, you've pretty much killed that interaction.
So that's the first road you can go down. The second road is you can just simply just leave their self-opinion in a neutral position. So neither challenged nor confirmed if you say in a moment where you disagree with them.
Yeah, in that sense, we still have a bit of room to maneuver, but the best option, obviously, is to actively confirm their self-opinion. So this is one of people's, most... In fact, I was listening to an interview with Robert Greene. He says this is the number one thing, is people want to feel externally validated. They want to feel like their self-opinion is true. And he quoted William James, the father of psychology, effectively. He was saying that this is the number one thing, is people want their self-opinion confirmed. And so obviously in any negotiation, in any influence, that's the key that you need to start with, is confirm their self-opinion.
A lot of people might see that as really manipulative and evil when you're, even if you don't believe what you're saying really in terms of their self-opinion. But Robert Greene would say it's the opposite route, right? So the game is unavoidable, and this is something we do really unconsciously. So rather than to sit there in denial that this is a part of human nature, this is actually something that we do every day. It's just becoming conscious of it, and it is a much more effective way of getting things done, really. Yeah,
he says the game is unavoidable. This manipulating has got a negative spin on it, but influencing others, reducing their defensiveness, reducing their resistance. He says that your option is to either deny it and be bad at it, or improvise on the spot when this kind of scenario arises, or you can choose to practice and become good at it and realize that it's inevitable and that it's unavoidable, and it's better for you to be better at it than just making it up on the spot.
Absolutely, and that's one of the darker side of things. But there's also a real positive thing, right? So in validating their self-opinion, there's this mutual warmth and respect, and you're really fulfilling one of their deepest needs in life, right? That their self-opinion is being fulfilled. So you're giving them a real gift, rather than knocking them for 6 and making them feel like shit for the rest of the day.
Yeah, that's a good positive spin on it. Yeah, I like it. So what he gives next, he gives the 4 strategies or the 4 steps to becoming a master persuader. So the first thing is something we've talked about a fair bit, is transforming yourself into a deep listener. So in normal conversations, our attention is divided. We're sort of half listening to what the person is saying. We're following along, but really what we're doing is we're thinking of what we're going to say next.
So even though you're going to let them do 80% of the talking, you need to make them feel that it was like a lively exchange, not just you just asking questions. That's a mistake I fell into, to be honest, after reading How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was just a one-way conversation, and was probably counterproductive in the listening. So in the exchange, make sure it's lively and it feels like it's mutual as well.
Yeah, he says, that's a generic advice, is talk less, listen more, but you got to be careful with how you do that. You don't want to just be constantly asking about them and never sharing anything about yourself, because there's no connection there. And he says you also don't want to just barrage them with with questions and feel like they're being interrogated, or like, you're asking about their whole life story to eventually manipulate them later.
Like it. Number 2 was infect people with the proper mood.
He says as social animals, we're extremely susceptible to the moods and emotions of other people. So if we're going to have a conversation, if I'm thinking, oh man, I'm trying to get this person to do a favor for me, I'm so nervous and I'm feeling tense, they're just going to feel that energy effectively, and it's going to infect them with that negative energy. And so it's probably not the best place to start any kind of negotiation. So he says that what you need to do is infect them with a positive energy instead, and think good about the other person, so you're in a good frame of mind.
Yes, and if you think back to we've done a few kind of sales books, and similar to this, if you go into it with very little confidence, there's no way you're going to get it done, and they're going to actually be confident in the transaction as well. So you need to ood the confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah, he talked about some of the best seducers as well, and he says that the best thing about them was that they just always felt so calm and so relaxed. And the women said that it felt like I'd already had 3 martinis. That's how relaxed the whole environment felt. And so it's an infectious to feel so comfortable and feel relaxed, and it makes other people feel better.
Yeah, mate, that's a very Machiavellian insight of yours. Very Machiavellian, mate. And that's a great segue into number 3, which is confirming their self-opinion.
I like it, mate. I like it a lot. So we already talked about the 3 things: autonomy, intelligence, and goodness. So we need to confirm those in the conversation to get them on side. One thing I liked is, say we've covered it a fair bit, but say for intelligence, he says if someone's got an opinion or an idea that you completely disagree with, for you to say you disagree with it, it's just saying you're dumb, I'm smart, and that's game over. So he said instead a couple of different ways to present your idea. One is to say, I was just having a think, I just sort of had this idea. It's probably not right, but what do you think about this? So you're almost like saying it's not your idea, it's just an idea that you had, and what do you reckon? So the other way to do it, he says, is just completely agree with their view and then manipulate from there.
Is it just made it like awkward when you say that to yourself now?
A little bit.
I like it. And so the 4th one is allay their insecurities.
Yeah.
So everyone has particular insecurities, their looks, pimples on their face, creative powers, the masculinity, power status, uniqueness, popularity. I mean, everyone's got these insecurities, so avoid them. If you prod these insecurities, then you're going to release a dragon in them, and behind your back and all this kind of stuff, they're going to be knocking you out.
Yeah, he says, so that's the first part is confirming their self-opinion, their positive ideas about themselves. And the next part is never bringing up these negative things. So it comes back to the first step, empathically listening and understanding them, and try to spot these insecurities. And then if they've got a certain insecurity, whether it's a way they hold their body, that there's a part of their body they're not happy about or something, or they talk about how they don't often go out on the weekends or something because they don't have many friends, whatever it is, never bring that up in conversation. So in any conversation, if you trigger that insecurity, their defensiveness automatically goes up. So you need to be very careful to avoid those insecurities in your conversation.
Mate, this is an absolutely super chapter, confirming people's self-opinion to get down their defenses so you can have this connection of mutual warmth. And if you were that type of person, you can persuade them and convince them to do some things. The 3 things that everybody has, so in any exchange, you can just do these 3 things, and that's confirm that the person is autonomous. You can confirm that that person is intelligent in their own way, whether it's plumbing, whether it's engineering or whatever. And number 3, they're all good and decent in their own way.
I like it, mate, because I'm so Machiavellian. I love books like Influence, Persuasion, Win Bigly. But this is just like a much more simple, like a universal thing. These are the 3 things that everybody believes, and it's obvious to see that these are true. So confirm those, never go against those. It's a much more simple approach, I think.
Woo! I wonder if this worked.